The scream did not come from pain, it came from shame. People froze. Phones paused mid-record. In the middle of Aba's bustling Ariaria Road, where engines roared and traders shouted prices into the heat, a well-dressed man dropped to his knees like a tree struck by lightning. Kioma, please, he whispered, his voice breaking. You are killing your mother. The girl standing before him did not flinch. Her heels were sharp, expensive, foreign. Her hair shimmered under the sun, perfectly laid. Her clothes screamed money, attitude, and rebellion. She looked down at the man kneeling before her, not as a father, but as an inconvenience. I said I'm not going anywhere with you, Kioma snapped loudly. You're embarrassing me. A gasp rolled through the small crowd forming around them. This was Chief Obina Okori, a respected businessman in Aba, a man whose name opened doors, whose generosity built churches, paid school fees, and fed families. And here he was, kneeling on hot asphalt, begging his own daughter. Her mother lay slumped inside a parked SUV nearby, sobbing uncontrollably, her wrapper loosened, her dignity shattered. After all we did for you, the woman cried weakly. After all the sacrifices, Kioma laughed, a sharp, careless laugh. You did those things because you wanted to, she said, pulling out her phone. Don't act like saints now. Someone in the crowd muttered, Jesus. Another whispered, Is that not Chief Okori's daughter? Cameras slowly came up, and that was the moment everything broke. Before this story continues, take a second to subscribe. Stories like this carry deep lessons, and you won't want to miss what happens next, because what this girl becomes will shock you. Chioma Okori had everything, and that was the problem. From the day she was born in a private hospital off Aba Owerri Road, life had bowed before her. While other children learned patience, Kioma learned command. While others were told wait, she heard take. Her parents loved her, perhaps too much. Chief Obina Okori rose from nothing. As a young man, he sold spare parts under the sun, slept in unfinished shops, and ate once a day. When success finally came, it came violently. Money, respect, influence. And when Kioma arrived as their only child after years of waiting, they swore she would never suffer. Unfortunately, they also swore she would never be corrected. By age 6, Kioma owned tablets and phones meant for adults. By 10, she insulted teachers who dared discipline her. By 14, she dismissed her parents' warnings with rolling eyes and slammed doors. And by 19, she disgraced them in public. That afternoon on Ariaria Road did not begin as chaos. It began as rescue. Kioma had gone viral the night before. Again, a video showed her in a club in Aba, drunk, standing on a table, pouring champagne on the floor while mocking poor people. Another clip followed, her slapping a waiter, then another, her insulting an older woman who tried to caution her. The comments were brutal. Is this not Chief Okori's daughter? Money without training is a curse. She has no home training. This is shameful. By morning, Chief Obina's phone would not stop ringing. Church elders, business partners, family members, even strangers. So he did what a desperate father would do. He went to bring her home, but Kioma refused. She screamed, she insulted him, and when he tried to hold her arm gently, she pushed him. That push knocked the dignity out of him and knocked his wife into emotional collapse. That was when he knelt. That was when Abba watched. And that was when Chief Obina Okorie realized something terrifying. Love without discipline had created a monster. If you've ever seen a child go out of control because of too much freedom, type I understand in the comments because the story speaks to many homes. That night, the Okori mansion was silent. No music, no laughter, no Kioma shouting into her phone. Chief Obina sat alone in his study, the weight of disgrace pressing on his chest. Across from him sat his wife, eyes swollen from crying, hands trembling. We failed, she whispered. No, he replied slowly, his voice hardening. We corrected wrongly. Silence followed. Then he spoke the sentence that would change Kioma's life forever. She's leaving Abba. His wife looked up sharply. Leaving? Yes, he said, to a place where money cannot save her, where respect is earned, where discipline is not optional. Fear flickered across her face. Obina, she will hate us. He stood up. She already does, he said. But if we don't act now, we will bury her later. Outside, Kioma laughed loudly on the phone, unaware that her empire of freedom was about to collapse. That was the night the decision was made. A decision that would send Kioma Okori to a strict boarding school she never imagined existed. A place with no mirrors, no phones, no shouting, no excuses. A place where arrogance would be stripped, slowly, painfully, and where humility would be forced to grow. Kioma slept peacefully that night for the last time. If this story is already touching you, don't forget to subscribe. The transformation coming will break hearts and rebuild souls. The morning Kioma Okore lost control of her life began like every other morning she believed the world owed her. Sunlight filtered through the massive curtains of her bedroom, touching polished tiles imported from Italy. The air conditioning hummed softly. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Notifications, comments, likes, insults, praise, hatred. She smiled at all of it. Attention, whether good or bad, was still attention. She stretched lazily, scrolling through the viral video again, the one where her father knelt. Serves him right, she muttered, always acting holy. She did not know her bags were already packed. Downstairs, Chief Obina Okorie stood in the dining room, staring at a sealed brown envelope on the table. The name of the school was printed in bold, unforgiving letters. No glamour, no prestige, just discipline. His wife watched him with fear and hope fighting in her eyes. Once we do this, she said quietly, there is no turning back. There is no turning back already, he replied. The driver was instructed. The gate was locked. Security stood firm. At exactly 8:17 a.m., Kioma came downstairs, dressed for brunch, sunglasses on, phone in hand. I'm going out, she announced casually. Don't wait for me. Chief Obina did not look up. You are not going anywhere, she laughed. Daddy, not today. I'm not in the mood. That was when he stood, and Kioma saw something she had never seen before. Finality. What is this? She snapped as she noticed the luggage by the door. Why are my things there? You're traveling, he said calmly. To where? She scoffed. Dubai, Lagos, Abuja. No, he replied. A school. The silence that followed was violent. A school, she repeated slowly, as if tasting poison. Are you mad? You are leaving Abba today. She burst into laughter, loud, disrespectful. You can't be serious. I'm not a child. You behave worse than one, her mother said suddenly, her voice shaking but firm. Kioma turned sharply. You too, after everything I do for you. Her mother stood up. You do nothing for us except bring shame. That slap of truth landed harder than any hand ever could. Kioma's smile vanished. You won't dare, she said coldly, pointing at her father. I will destroy your reputation. Chief Obina walked past her. I am already disgraced, he said. What remains is to save your life. When she tried to run upstairs, security blocked her. When she screamed, no one answered. When she fought, the driver opened the car door. And when she realized this was real, she broke. The journey out of Abba felt unreal. Kioma screamed threats. She cried, she begged, she insulted, she promised change, she promised revenge. No one responded. Her phone was taken. The road stretched endlessly. Hours later, the gates appeared, tall, rusted, silent, no signboards boasting excellence, no flowers, no smiling faces, just one name carved into concrete, St. Mark's Discipline Academy. Her heart dropped. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The gate opened with a groan that sounded like judgment. Inside, students marched in silence, heads bowed, uniforms plain, faces serious. A woman with steel eyes approached. I am Matron Adebayo, she said. From today you are not special. Kioma laughed nervously. You don't know who I am. Matron Adebayo stared at her. I don't care. Her phone was confiscated, her clothes replaced, her hair inspected, her name removed from her identity. From now on, the matron said, you are student 47. Something inside Kioma cracked. At this point, what do you think will happen to Kioma? Will she break this school, or will the school break her? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The first night was hell. The mattress was thin. The lights went out early. Silence pressed against her ears. She cried quietly into her pillow, anger burning hotter than fear. They will regret this, she whispered. Morning came with a whistle, cold water, chores, punishments, no mirrors, no makeup, no shouting. When Kioma refused to kneel during morning devotion, she was made to scrub toilets until her hands blistered. When she insulted a teacher, she ate last. When she mocked other students, she slept outside. For the first time in her life, money meant nothing. Status meant nothing. Her surname meant nothing. And slowly, painfully, the world stopped bending for her. Weeks passed, then months. Her body changed. Her voice softened. Her pride fought desperately, but discipline is patient. One evening, while washing plates, under dim light, Kilma overheard two girls whispering. She was once like us, one said. No, the other replied. She was worse. Kilma froze. For the first time, shame replaced anger. That night, she cried, not because she was punished, but because she saw herself clearly, and clarity hurts. The day she finally rode home, her hands trembled. I'm sorry, the letter began. Miles away in Aba, Chief Obina held the paper and wept openly. The monster was dying. A daughter was returning. The letter changed everything, but it did not change it quickly. Discipline does not hurry healing. At St. Mark's Discipline Academy, remorse was not rewarded with comfort. Apologies did not cancel consequences. Crying did not soften rules. The school had seen many children like Kioma, children of wealth, children of influence, children whose parents thought money could replace molding. And as St. Mark's specialized in undoing damage, Kioma expected a reply immediately. None came. Days passed, then weeks. Her chest tightened with a feeling she had never known before, being ignored. At home in Abba, silence had always meant punishment for others. Now it was her punishment. She woke every morning before dawn, scrubbing corridors that never stayed clean long enough. She learned to eat food without seasoning and be grateful. She learned that hunger sharpened humility faster than lectures. The girls she once mocked became her mirrors. Some were from broken homes, some from poverty, some from violence, yet they endured without arrogance, without entitlement. One night during manual labor, Kioma collapsed. Her hands bled, her knees shook, sweat soaked her uniform. Matron Adebayo stood over her. Stand up. I can't, Kioma whispered. You will, the matron replied, or you will remain here. Something snapped, not in anger, but surrender. Kioma stood, and for the first time in her life, she finished something she hated without complaining. That night, she slept deeply. Back in Aba, Chief Obina Okorie faced his own battles. Whispers followed him everywhere. The man whose daughter disgraced him. Money, but no control. Church invitations reduced. Business partners watched carefully. Respect, once automatic, now required rebuilding. But he did not regret his decision. When his wife cried at night, he held her and repeated the same words. Better she hates us alive than praises us at our graves. Months passed. Kioma learned to listen. She learned to lower her eyes when elders spoke. She learned to say yes, ma, and mean it. One afternoon, a younger student dropped her food tray. The hall went silent. Spilled food meant punishment. Without thinking, Kioma knelt and helped her clean. The matron noticed. No praise came, but something shifted. The real breaking point came during visiting day. Parents arrived. Laughter filled the grounds. Hugs, tears, gifts. Kioma waited and waited. No one came. She sat alone under a tree as families reunited around her. That was when the weight crushed her. Not anger, not resentment, loneliness. She cried openly, no pride left to protect. I deserve this, she whispered. That night, Matron Adebayo handed her a letter. From Abba, her mother. My daughter, we hear you are changing. Change is painful, but it saves lives. We still love you. Finish this journey. Kioma pressed the paper to her chest. For the first time, discipline felt like love. Years passed quietly. When Kioma finally walked out of St. Mark's Discipline Academy, she was unrecognizable. No arrogance, no noise, no entitlement. She returned to Abba not as a queen, but as a student of life. At Ariaria Road, where shame once lived, she knelt, not for cameras, but for forgiveness. Her parents wept, and Abba watched again, this time in silence. When Kioma Okorie returned fully to Abba, the city did not welcome her with applause. Abba remembers. The streets that once recorded her insults, her arrogance, her drunken laughter now watched her quietly, measuring, waiting, judging whether this was another performance or a real transformation. She felt it. Every step to Ariaria Road carried weight. Traders who once whispered now stared openly. Some recognized her immediately, others only sensed familiarity. Her heart pounded, not with pride, but fear. This time she did not lift her chin. She lowered it. Chief Obina did not allow a celebration, no Thanksgiving party, no announcements, no social media posts. He insisted she resume life slowly, humbly. Redemption is quiet, he told her. Noise attracts relapse. Kioma agreed. She enrolled in a modest institute in Aba, not one of the elite schools her name could buy. She used public transport. She queued. She waited. She obeyed. The first real test came unexpectedly. One afternoon at a roadside restaurant, the food arrived late, very late. The old Kioma would have erupted. Insults, threats, humiliation. The new Kioma sat still. When the elderly woman serving apologized nervously, Kioma smiled. It's okay, Ma, she said softly. The woman blinked in shock. Someone whispered, Is that not Chief Okore's daughter? Kioma heard. Her hands trembled, but she did not run. News traveled slowly, but it traveled. The girl has changed. She greets elders now. She helps. She keeps quiet. Some believed, some doubted, but Kioma stayed consistent. Her greatest trial came months later. At a public event in Aba, a young influencer mocked an old man openly, camera rolling, crowd laughing. Kioma froze. The memory hit her like a slap. That was her. She stepped forward. Please, she said calmly, stop recording. The influencer scoffed. Who are you? Kioma swallowed. I'm someone who once thought disrespect was power, she replied. It isn't. The crowd fell silent, phones lowered. The old man stared at her with wet eyes, and Abba felt something shift. That night, Chief Obina watched his daughter quietly wash plates in the kitchen, something she now did without being asked. His voice cracked. You have brought us honor again. Kioma knelt. No, sir, she said. I'm still learning. Tears flowed freely. Years later, Kioma would stand before young girls in Aba, sharing her story, not hiding it. She spoke of shame, of discipline, of love that hurts to heal, and she ended every talk with the same words. If your parents correct you, thank them. If they discipline you, honor them, because the world will not be gentle. This story teaches us that discipline is not hatred, correction is not cruelty. The child you save with pain today is the adult the world will thank tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more powerful African stories. Share this with a parent, a child, or anyone who needs this lesson, and tell us, What part of Kioma's journey stayed with you the most?